The afternoon sun blazed through the floor-to-ceiling windows of Terminal C as Maya Chen stood in the priority boarding line, her leather briefcase in one hand and phone in the other. She had just closed a deal worth $300 million, and now she was heading to Singapore for the final merger signing. Her navy blazer was perfectly pressed, her credentials impeccable, her boarding pass clearly marked, Seat 2A, first class. Next passenger, please, called the gate agent. Maya stepped forward, handed over her documents, and smiled. The agent scanned her pass without issue. Have a wonderful flight, Ms. Chen. She walked down the jet bridge with confidence, her heels clicking against the metal floor. 20 years of building her company from a garage startup to a tech empire had taught her to walk into any room like she belonged there. Because she did, the aircraft door loomed ahead. A flight attendant with blonde hair pulled into a tight bun stood at the entrance, her name tag reading Karen. Welcome aboard, Karen said automatically, then her eyes narrowed as she looked at Maya. Can I see your boarding pass again? Maya handed it over, sensing the shift in tone. Karen studied it for a long moment, flipping it over as if searching for proof of forgery. This says first class. Yes, that's correct. Seat RA. There must be some mistake, Karen said, her voice taking on an edge. Economy is in the back. You'll need to speak with the gate agent about getting your proper seat assignment. Maya's jaw tightened, but her voice remained steady. There is no mistake. This is my assigned seat. First class, RA. Ma'am, I'm going to need you to step aside, Karen insisted, blocking the aisle. Other passengers were backing up behind Maya now, craning their necks to see what was causing the delay. I'm not stepping aside. My ticket is valid, my seat is confirmed, and I have a meeting in Singapore that I cannot miss, Maya said, her words measured and clear. Karen's face flushed red. Steven, we need assistance up here. A male flight attendant hurried forward, his expression already showing annoyance before he even understood the situation. What seems to be the problem? This passenger is refusing to go to her correct seat, Karen explained, gesturing at Maya as if she were a problem to be solved rather than a paying customer. Steven glanced at Maya, then at the boarding pass Karen thrust toward him. His eyebrows rose slightly, but doubt clouded his features. Do you have identification? The question hung in the air like an insult. Maya slowly reached into her bag and pulled out her driver's license, her company ID badge, and 2 credit cards, all bearing her name. Maya Chen. As you can see, everything matches. By now, a small crowd had gathered. An elderly white woman in a pearl necklace whispered to her husband, I told you standards have dropped. A businessman in a gray suit shook his head, checking his watch impatiently. I'm going to need to call security, Steven announced, pulling out his radio. You're calling security because a passenger is trying to board with a valid ticket. Maya's voice rose slightly, the first crack in her composure. Do you do this to everyone, or just people who look like me? Karen's face went white. This has nothing to do with then what is it about? Maya challenged. My ticket is real, my ID matches, I've shown you everything you asked for. What more do you need? 2 airport security officers appeared, their expressions businesslike. What's going on here? This passenger is claiming to have a first-class ticket, but we need to verify, Steven began. I don't claim to have anything, Maya interrupted, her voice like steel. I have a valid first-class ticket, purchased 3 weeks ago, confirmed yesterday, and properly scanned at the gate. The only issue here is that your crew has decided I don't look like I belong in first class. One security officer examined her documents carefully. Everything appears to be in order, he said slowly, looking between Maya and the flight attendants. Can you check the passenger manifest? Steven asked, finally showing some uncertainty. Maya stood in the aisle for 7 minutes while Steven disappeared into the cockpit. 7 minutes while other passengers squeezed past her, some apologizing, others glaring. 7 minutes while Karen pretended to organize overhead bins but kept glancing back nervously. When Steven emerged, his face had gone pale. Behind him came a man in a captain's uniform, his silver hair and 4 stripes marking him as the flight's commander. Captain Rodriguez stopped, looked directly at Maya, and his eyes widened in recognition. "Ms. Chen," he said, his voice carrying down the cabin. "I apologize for this delay. I recognize you from the Aviation Leadership Summit last month in Dallas." The cabin fell silent. Captain Rodriguez continued, his voice growing firmer. "For those who don't know, Ms. Chen is the CEO of Chen Technologies. She sits on the board of our parent company, and she recently donated $5 million to our pilot safety training program." He turned to Steven and Karen, his expression hard. "She owns 40% of the company you work for." The color drained from Karen's face. Steven looked like he might be sick. Maya took a slow breath, then spoke calmly. "I don't want apologies born from fear of consequences. I want you to understand that this should never happen to anyone, regardless of who they are or what they own. The next person you doubt might not have my resources or position, but they deserve the same respect." Captain Rodriguez nodded seriously. "Karen, you're being removed from this flight. Report to your supervisor when we land." He looked at Maya with genuine remorse. "Ms. Chen, please, take your seat. We'll delay departure to ensure your comfort." As Maya finally settled into seat 2A, her phone buzzed. A text from the airline's CEO. "Just heard what happened. Calling you now." "Unacceptable." The elderly woman in pearls appeared beside her seat. "I owe you an apology," she said quietly. "I was wrong to judge." Maya looked up at her, seeing genuine shame in the woman's eyes. "Thank you for saying that. That takes courage." As the plane pushed back from the gate, Maya gazed out the window at the sky beyond, thinking not of revenge but of the changes she would implement, the training programs she would fund, the policies she would help rewrite. Justice, she had learned, was not about punishment. It was about making sure this never happened again to anyone else. The engines roared to life, and Maya Chen flew toward her future, carrying with her the determination to build a world where everyone could claim their seat without question.